What's up guys, my name's Tom, welcome back to another video, here back for another episode of my F2 2020 career mode as Raw with Shwartzman. Today is time for round 6 at the Red Bull Ring. If you haven't watched the previous episode at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, I highly recommend to go check it out. It was a tough weekend for us, spoiler alert. You're seeing at the moment some highlights of that race. But anyway, we're going to focus at the Austrian Grand Prix. You can see that we're leading the championship by 20 points. It's been a while since we won a race. For the time being, we didn't win a feature race, and we're still leading the championship. So just to see how consistent we are being, and our rivals have been having you know, a lot of trouble. They are stuck in the midfield, and that allows us to gain a lot of points. But Matsushita is starting to get a little bit closer, starting to get closer and closer, apologies, and we've been performing not very well. It was really hard to score points at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It was a miracle in the sprint race, I'm not gonna lie, thanks to that huge crash. It was a huge crash at the start-finish straight, and the safety car really helped us out. But anyway, qualifying, it seems that we're going to have some rain as well for the race, but it should get drier as the laps go by, and then for the sprint race is going to be a full dry session. But the practice is over. We are at 3/10 faster over Jehan Daruvala, but qualifying is going to be a completely different story because we're going to be with a wet tire for the entirety of the session. The rain is going to ease down, but it's not going to be enough to fit the slicks. So it's going to be quite of a challenge. My first time in the rain in this weekend is going to be quite a challenge, but hopefully as the laps go by, we're going to start to find time and get more comfortable in these very tricky conditions. At the moment it is full wet condition, but it should get intermediate condition. We're going to be with the full wets anyway, because there's no intermediates in F2. As we go through the first corner, losing a little bit the back end, and it's been a very tight lap. I'm not risking that much because I don't want to end up in the wall early in the session, because there's a lot of time to find. And yeah, that's basically it. As we go through the final corner, try to use the curves as much as I can. The curves are absolute soap in these conditions, and for the time being we are in last place. No surprise, it was a terrible lap. Now 7 cents up, we'll see where this is going to put us. Through the last corner it was definitely more clean, almost a second of improvement, and it is just enough to put us ahead of Louis Delatraz as we cut now a little bit the last corner on lap 3, and Schumacher only in P20, but then we're going to improve and we are up into 10th place with a 3/10 improvement lap. And you can see that I'm already getting more confident and confident. Wet weather conditions with F2 cars can be really hard. You have to be so patient with the throttle and with the brakes. I highly recommend to put the brake bias a little bit more to the front, because with these cars is definitely way easier to lock the rears. But anyway, we're going to fit another set of tires. I'm going to risk and use another set, because probably in the race we might use 2. But I'm not going to give that much use to these ones. I think I'm going to do like 3 laps. Actually, it's the same usage that I did on the first set, but I think I have the feeling that I can improve substantially, because you can see that the rain is starting to ease down a bit, and you can see that we have already a little racing line on the track. But this lap wasn't that good. We didn't improve by any means, 6 tenths away of our previous best. But we'll see if this one is going to be much better. You can see how much commitment I have through the first corner, but you can see that it is not enough to improve. And as we are finishing the lap, we are 1 tenth down, but through the final corner we gain a bit, but it's not going to be enough. Actually it is enough, but it is by just less than a tenth of a second, and we went purple on the last sector. So this is going to be our final lap. At the moment we are in P9. Hopefully this lap is going to put us in a very good position for the race. And we lost the back end. It's all over for us in qualifying. We locked the rears at turn 2, at turn 3 I should say. It is the second proper corner of the circuit, but you can see, oh, that is so unfortunate. I was pushing so hard, and actually Pedro Piquet ghosted through us because I didn't get out of the way in time. If it was real life, he would get a penalty because he didn't slow down under yellow flag. But it's Jack Aitken on pole position, followed by Drugovic and then Nikita Mazepin. So these guys in the midfield are starting to get closer and closer to us, but they have a huge mountain to climb if they want to get closer to me and Matsushita. But it's going to be a long race. It is P11 at the end of the day, 3/10 of pole. You can see how competitive the field feel this. Full tenth of a second separating the top 20. So it's going to be really a very challenging race here, but I'm really looking forward to it. So without further ado, let's go to the feature race for the Austrian Grand Prix.
Here we are amidst the dense forest and rolling hills of Spielberg in Austria, just 2 hours out of Vienna. It's an amazing destination for the race today, and we're about to get started. Spielberg is a short lap, just 10 corners, 7 rights and 3 lefts, making up a total distance of 2.6 miles. Now, the wet conditions today are going to make the cars a bit skittish, especially through those downhill sections. Watch out for the cars running wide, especially through that last corner. I'm joined by a man who's had many a wet race, Davide Valsecchi. Just how challenging will these conditions be out there on track?
Delighted to be here, Alex. Even in this weather, nothing will be easy for them. We may have standing water, which means visibility will be a worry. They just need to stay clear of the white lines and curbs. That can cause you a real problem when it's so slippery.
Here are the starting positions for today's race. Jack Aitken lines up on pole position, with Felipe Dragovic alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Mazepin, Daruvala, Yuki Tsunoda, and Lundgaard, Alesi, Eilert, Samaya, Daniel Ticktum, Shwartzman, Piquet, Marino Sato, and Giotto, Joe, Matsushita, Nissani, and Marcus Armstrong, Galeo, and Mick Schumacher, Markelov, and Louis Delatraz starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
And here we are on the track, guys, ready to the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. Heavy rain conditions is pouring a lot at the moment, but it's going to get drier. But I believe it's not enough to get the slicks fitted on the car. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. But you can see that definitely the rain is going to ease down as the laps go by. So hopefully I can start to feel more confident in the later stages of the race. But it is time for the Austrian Grand Prix. You can see Guilherme Samaya inside the top 10. I don't know what is happening with Samaya today. But anyway, it slides out and away we go. Let's see if we can get a good start against 10. Ticktum ahead of us. It's always a bad start in these F2 cars as we go into turn 1. PK already overtook us. But I'm going to try to respond by going around inside. Maybe try to take a look on Guilherme Samaya. And he gets a good run, good traction from the Brazilian, and we find ourselves side by side with Dan Ticktum, and Ticktum is getting a beautiful slipstream of Samaya, so definitely he's getting that advantage on the straight line speed as we brake very carefully, going very gingerly, trying to let the car roll, and everyone is going so slow that this is going to give me a chance to maybe take the position over Callum Milot. Is not enough, unfortunately, and we have to be behind the Brit, but the traction is not being that good because here comes Samaya once again, and who's going to be the bravest under the brakes is going to be probably me, because we're going to have the inside line and giving a little bit of a squeeze to the Brazilian, and we are up at the end of half a lap, and we are up into P9, so it's been an okay start considering the conditions that we have at the moment. But in terms of how it's going to be the pace for the next few laps is a huge question mark at the moment, because this is a completely different story of what we have in qualifying. This is wet conditions. You can see that you can't see the racing line almost. You can see just the tire marks because I'm not in first place. But anyway, like I was saying, it's really hard because the car is heavy, and heavy rain conditions in the F2 cars can be really hard, even more harder than the F1 cars. But anyway, I always have a lot of fun driving with these little beasts, because you learn a lot by driving the F2 cars, believe it or not. I improved as a driver by driving these beautiful F1 babies, I can say. This is a baby F1 car, but anyway, I'm trying to get closer and closer to Eilert. I can barely see anything but going purple on the first sector, so you can see that I'm starting to improve, the track conditions are starting to improve, so maybe I'm thinking in a move sooner or later on Eilert, because I'm starting to get closer and closer. We have a little bit of a train by one of the others that is going slow, and I think this is Julian Alesi pulling into the pits as well, Christian Lundgaard. So I wonder if they're going already to fit the wet tires, which doesn't make any sense. Maybe it is that glitch where the AI makes that stupid strategy. But anyway, we're side by side with Eilert into the first corner. He's going to be more brave on the brake, so we're going to try to do the switchback. He runs deep, and that is going to allow us to do the switchback of dreams, and that's us up into the top 5 positions thanks to the stupid strategies from the AI. And I think we have some side-by-side action between Samaya and I believe, yes, it is Tictum. I was going to say Sean Galeo, but Sean Galeo is way behind these guys as I run wide through turn 3, and this might allow Isla to come back, and yes, we are side by side, but he gets a brilliant run as I overshot the turn 3, and we have to settle behind the Brit once again, and we have to do all over again as I'm really confident on the brakes. And no, that was really close to lose a bit on my front wing, but thankfully I managed to avoid. I don't know how I avoided that, but I lost so much time that Tictum now might get this position as we go side by side through the twisty second sector, which is not a really good place to go side by side in heavy rain, if I'm honest. But anyway, we kept P6, and we have to do all over again on Carlo Milot. And finally, I'm starting to get closer and closer to the UNI virtuosi. But I'm going to pause the game, and you're going to see the race director and confirmation that we have stupid strategies happening in this race. Mazepin, Lacey, Lundgaard, PK, and Luke Kyoto already made 3 stops, and we're just on lap 8. This is a very serious problem. In the F1 game, in the F2 2020 category, DI makes these unnecessary strategies, and that ruins the race, because at the moment we should be in P9 and we are in P6, and that doesn't give that much merit. But Drugovic is out of the race. Drugovic is out of the race. He was in 2nd place, I believe, and this chance of getting a podium are being vanished away, because his MP Motorsport decided to give up on the race, and there he is pulling onto the side of the track, and that is the race coming to an early end to the Brazil. Really unfortunate, but that means that is a free position for us, and we find ourselves in P5. Not anymore, because we're going to do our mandatory pit stop, not mandatory pit stop, because you know, there's not such thing in feature races, but we're going to fit not a fresh set of wet tires, because we used to in the qualifying session. But anyway, we find ourselves in P12, but hopefully it's going to be P5 at the end of the race. So we're heading to a very good finish after okay qualifying. I did what I could in wet conditions. You know that the AI is pretty basic on wet conditions, especially on qualifying. But hopefully we can keep this position and maybe get Ilot, who knows. You never know what can happen in F2 as Petro PK sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So confirmation that the track is getting better and better. Gone purple on the 2nd sector, but I have a little fear that these tires might get away, because I'm using the same set. Hopefully it's not the case, as I'm getting really close to Ilot, and the PK once again setting the fastest lap. But I can tell you that who's leading at the moment, it is Jack Aitken, as Ilot sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So Ilot is on the pace at the moment, as I'm trying to keeping up with him, but it is not enough, and he's already more than 1 second ahead of us, as we have some yellow flags. And this is one of the Carlins, is Jehan Ruvela once again getting an ENF, and oh, there's a Tictum that hit the back of the Carlin, and he has major wing damage, and the virtual safety car has been deployed, probably because of that debris, because the Ruvela pulled to the side of the track. And at the moment Samaya finds himself in this P6, with a brilliant performance by the Brazilian that might score his first points of the season. Now we have another yellow flag, so I wonder if someone is out of the race. Yes, it's Jack Aitken, but I believe he is not out of the race, because there's no warning saying that he's out of the sessions. So I wonder what happened. Probably was one of the blue flag cars, so we'll see. We're going to see what happened. Maybe it was through the final corner, and he made contact with one of the I-Techs, and this is Nikita Mazepin. Oh, are you kidding? Oh, this can't get any better. Nikita Mazepin taking someone out from the lead of the race. That never happened in the real life F2, but that suits really well to what Mazepin is, you know. But oh, that is so unfortunate. Mazepin should have been disqualified or get a drive-through penalty, because he removed someone from the lead of the race, and he was getting a blue flag. Oh, Mazepin, what an absolute twat. And we're going to watch this POV to see clearly what happened. He was overtaking someone, if I'm not wrong. And then out of nowhere he slows down, and Aitken doesn't have any chance and runs to the back of him. and that's Aitken's chances to win the race pretty much over, maybe score points, because at the moment he finds himself outside of the point, and this is there's some guys behind. This is Matsushita, our closest rival in the championship, trying to go run outside of Guan Yuzhou, trying to get some points. I believe this is at the moment for the reverse grid pull for the sprint race, and they are battling. This means that they're battling for P8 as Matsushita tries to go run outside of the Chinese. It's so hard to go run outside when the track is wet and greasy, because there's just one racing line, the best line to drive, and Zhou keeps that position and remains in 8th place. So Matsushita really needs his reverse grid pull if he wants to get any chance to get closer to us in the championship, because at the moment we are in a very, very lofty P3 and we are starting to get closer once again to Alam Ilot as we set the fastest lap, so confirmation that we are on the pace. Tsunoda, I think, is not going to have any problems to win this race despite getting closer and closer to him. But you can see that I set once again another fastest lap of the Grand Prix, gone purple on the first and last sector. You can see how confident I am on the brakes. Look how slow Ilot is through the first corner, so timid to hit the apex, and we might have a chance here as we gaining the slipstream of the UNI for chance. We're going to pull on the outside. Who's going to be the bravest on the brakes? We brake almost at the same time, but let's see if it can get a good traction around the outside. Is going to be pretty close, but we only just get enough to get us through into second place. So it's been a great race, followed by misunfortunes from the guys ahead of us, and at the moment we are looking really good to extend our lead in the championship as Dan Tickton ruins our chances to probably get the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And Samaya, you can see that is in 4th place at the moment. What a man that Samaya is being during this feature race, and Ilot getting really punchy as he tried to take a look on the second sector. But I can see I lost a bit of back end as I'm trying to put the throttle as early as I can, but these tires are starting to fade away a little bit, and I just managed to close the door as the DRS gets in air. But no one is going to pit for the slicks because there is no point whatsoever to fit the soft tires, because that is raining quite a bit, and actually I'm surprised that the DRS has been deployed. Maybe it's for the spectacle, maybe it is for the show, because Ilot is going to have a very good chance in this last lap, because now he has the DRS available as I'm using all the track that I can, and Tsunoda is going to definitely get away with this one, because Ilot is going to be rubbing his hands, and here comes Kylam Ilot as I pull very aggressively to the right hand side to the track, and I stepped on the grass as I'm really brave on the brakes and maybe too aggressive as I lock once again the rears like I did in qualifying. And now it's going to be a drag race. We have the DRS, so definitely that is going to come an end, and the Samai is coming, but I believe he's not going to be enough to get a podium unless something catastrophic happens as we go down inside, and I lock once again the rears, and I'm sliding across the car left, right and center, and Ilot is going to get that position. There's nothing that I can do. These tires are dead at the moment, and maybe I shouldn't fit it another set of tires in qualifying, because that probably wouldn't happen, because these tires are starting to fade away a lot, and definitely Ilot's ones are in better shape because they're maybe a new set, I don't know. But nonetheless, it's going to be a great result for us, a very lofty P3 as I'm trying to get closer to Ilot, maybe do a last move on the last corner, but there's no way that I'm going to do that as I almost spun the car and gave Samaya the podium. But for us, it is a very good result in a very action-packed feature race.
Yes, that's a podium. Excellent drive. The team have worked especially hard this weekend, and this is a fantastic reward.
So as they climb out of the car, the Carlin team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. And I have to wonder, Davide Valsecchi, just what set them apart from the competition here.
Although the Formula 2 cars are all the same spec, the winner just looked better out there. It would have been a combination of getting those tires up to running temperature faster and driving to the condition on track. They made it look easy out there today.
As we can see, it's time for the podium, and I can see the Carlin team underneath our commentary box going crazy as their driver walks out. It was a great win, and it means a great deal to this team.
Just imagine if I spun on the penultimate corner and Samaya would get a podium. That would be absolutely historical. For me, Samaya, it is the driver of the day and scores his first points in his F2 career in this game universe. But this is the man, Yuki Tsunoda, winning the race after starting on the top 5, followed by Allard and then myself as Robert Shwartzman. Starting in outside of the top 10, we managed to score a very positive result. A lot of guys outside of the top 10 score points, thanks to the fortunates of the guys ahead, Daruvala, Aitken and Drugovic. And in the championship standings, we pulled away of Matsushita and we are at 30 points ahead of us. In the constructors, we remain ahead, Premier Racing 19 points ahead of MP Motorsport. But this is not done yet, because now it's time for the sprint race.
We've reversed the top 8 from yesterday's race to set the grid for the sprint race here today, and the drivers are almost ready on the grid down below. Alongside me today, I'm delighted to welcome back to the commentary box the 2012 GP2 champion, Davide Valsecchi. There looks to be a challenging race ahead of the drivers today, Davide. With that in mind, what are you looking out for today?
Well, Alex, I want to see how the drivers at the back of the grid are going to roll down. They'll need to make an impact in the early stages, and they're probably hoping for a bit of luck at the start. We may see some bold maneuvers out there today.
And here we are, ready to start off the sprint race. Surprise, surprise, pole position for Sean Galeo, the man himself that can get his first F2 win. And for us, no stops whatsoever. It's going to be a soft strategy, and that is going to be the sprint race for us. But there is Matsushita starting on the front row and might get the lead of Sean Galeo. It's going to depend of what the Indonesian can do, as the 5 lights go away. And it's time for the sprint race. Terrible start from us, already down into 8th place, as we are side by side going to turn 1, side by side with Armstrong, and we're already outside of the point as Matsushita is trying to take the lead of the race. And we might chop another place as one of the Ardens is trying to get the position. It is Artem Markov as we go into the 3rd corner of the circuit. As lock up a little bit, we need to be really careful on these tires, because this track can kill a lot of tires, especially on the 2nd sector. But we managed to come back by getting 2 positions, and we're the final points paying position for the time being, as we have some side-by-side action between Samaya and one of the ARCs, if I'm not wrong, as I ran a little bit deep. But thankfully Armstrong can't do anything, and we remain in 8th place, but looking really, really close. But what we have to do now is not drop off the DRS train, because I don't want to be stuck in P8 as I step on the gravel trap, and that was really close to spin the car and put our chances to score points in this sprint race to an end, because Matsushita might win this race. It's going to be maybe an easy overtake with Sean Galeo. It will depend on the pace of the Indonesian, but talking about driver skills, definitely Matsushita is way better than Galeo. But we'll see what's going to happen in these next few laps, as Sean Galeo still in the lead, leads the way, and we are in 8th place, looking really close to Yuki Tsunoda. Are we going to dare a late launch into turn 1? No, we don't have enough brakes for that, and we remained behind the Japanese. And at the end of lap 3, we're starting to drop a little bit behind Tsunoda. I'm starting to get a little bit worried, as everyone is setting the fastest lap. Samaya setting the fastest lap. What a man at the moment. Samaya looking so good in round 6. Can this be a beginning of a late championship charge from the Brazilian? We'll see what is going to happen in the next few rounds of this career mode series. If you're enjoying this video, make sure to smash like and to see more F2 content. Really motivates me to make more, as I'm getting really close to Tsunoda. Enough to get side by side. And are we going to have enough brakes? Are we brave enough to go down inside for the penultimate corner? You can see that Tiansa is a big fat yes, and that's us up into P7 as we open the DRS. And let's now try to catch Samaya in a very lofty P6. I'm actually super surprised to see Samaya so up to order, but this is for the lead of the race. Matsushita with the DRS goes down inside of Sean Galeo. This is going to be so good for his championship campaign, but Galeo also around the outside. Galeo doing everything to win his first F2 race, but Matsushita is going to have the help of the DRS, and Joe is getting very close. And let's see if he's going to do some magic and maybe try to get the lead of the race. No, it is not enough, and he has to remain behind in 3rd place. Matsushita leads the race, and probably is going to get away with this one as we send one down the inside of Samaya. Late launch on the Brazilian, ran a little bit deep, but thankfully he's not going to do any comeback or any switch back whatsoever, and that's us up into 6th place as I'm getting really close to Callum Ilott, and we might get side by side in the sprint race like we did on the feature race, and we might get up the inside through the penultimate corner. Very close margins with the Brit, and we managed to get ahead, but we run very deep into the last corner, and this might allow Ilott to come back, and there he is, and he is already ahead, and Tsunoda might get ahead as well as Ilott goes defensive and trying to maybe get a switch back, but I had to do a little correction, and our traction wasn't really good, and we might be on the threat of Yuki Tsunoda, and there he comes. He's maybe getting a little bit of a slipstream to Ilott, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to squeeze him off in order to break that slipstream, and he's going to send, that is going to convert his overtake on me in a double overtake maybe, and he's going to make that work, and he pulled through a fantastic double overtake, but this is not over yet, because I want to overtake Ilott, and he's really brave on the brakes. He's going to try to maybe a late launch on Tsunoda as well. No, he doesn't have enough confidence to do that, and what a sprint race that we are having at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm asking for the weather report to see if we don't have any last minute sprinkles, and even if it starts, it's not worth it to pit for the wet tires, because we have 4 laps to go. Make that 3 as we sent one down inside a very late launch on Ilott, but like I was saying, we have just 3 laps to go, and Tsunoda is getting away with 6th place, so I believe the best we can get in this Grand Prix is going to be 7th place, as we are going side by side once again. How many times did we go side by side with Ilott in this episode, as I'm squeezing very aggressive, but we lost the back end. We spun round, and we are round on the sprint race. Enough chances to score points are over. Oh, what a terrible pile-up that we just created, as I rejoin it very dangerously, and we are down into P4. This is disaster for us. We're not going to score any points in this sprint race because of this. I made this very stupid mistake, and this rejoin, and yeah, that was totally my fault. I should have been banned for 1 race. And you can see that Mazepin, you could see that give a little nudge to Jack Aitken, so that's quite poetic to see, making contact once again for not the lead of the race, but anyway, they made contact anyway, if it is outside of the points or for the win of the race. But this is the man that is going to win the race, Nobuharu Matsushita, gaining 50 points on us in the championship standings. But for us, a sprint race, a very action-packed sprint race, but I did a stupid mistake, and yeah, that was it, and P14 it is. Just get me out of here, please.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
It wasn't always plain sailing today, but a very important win nonetheless. Tell me, Davide, what was the key to this success?
The difference was in the strategy. Credit to the driver for sure, but races like this really drive home how much of a team sport this is. They did a lot of work on the pit wall to really make the most of each stint and to make the best use of the tires. But that said, all of that would have been for nothing without a talented hand on the wheel.
Our drivers are making their way out for the podium celebrations, and it's going to be MP Motorsport picking up the winner's trophy. Congratulations to the entire team for that fantastic performance.
Oh man, what a race weekend it was. Both races were absolute top class, and I hope you guys enjoyed. But anyway, this is the man that won the race, and there is Sean Galale on the podium. I don't know if Sean Galale scored podium in the real life F2. Make sure to let me know that on the comment section. But Matsushita, a really good day for him in the championship standings. Not a very good day for us because we didn't score any sort of points, and Schumacher couldn't score points either. But yeah, a little bit gutted, but these things happen. and Tsunoda manages to gain just 4 points on us thanks to that brilliant result and dreadful sprint race. But it was a very good race. I really enjoyed to do this race weekend, and if you did, make sure to smash like and subscribe to the new plenty more Formula 1 content, guys. It really motivates me to make more. Make sure to join to the family. I'm sure that you're going to have a great time with us. But you can see that we're leading the team standings by just 4 points, so I need also Mick to start to pick up the pace in order to get a double championship. But guys, once again, that has been episode 6 of my F2 2020 career mode as Robert Shwartzman. I hope you guys enjoyed, but I'll see you guys on brand new video next time. But for now, take care.